I'd like to start this message with an energetic request to the angels. May those who need to hear this message find it. My name is Cinda, but who I am doesn't matter as much as what I have to say. So I'm going to try to say this as quickly as I can before I chicken out. I know that many of us who watch the news are incredibly worried about the state of affairs happening around the world right now. There are so many scary, frightening things that are occurring that some of you may feel rather helpless and hopeless. And my message for you today is to let you know that things will have a tendency to always get worse before they get better. And that the analogy that I like to use is the analogy of skin. Skin is our largest, most protective, most valuable organ on our human body. And if you take our skin and you find similarities into the Earth's crust, we know that when certain parts of our skin, specifically our pores or our hair follicles, get clogged or blocked, an infection starts. And that infection becomes an irritation. And what we don't know about the way our beautiful body works is that there's healing that's going underneath the surface, that's going on underneath the surface of our skin, perhaps even longer before we realize that there's a problem. This healing happens, and as this healing continues, the infection, the dirt, the grime, the junk is pushed to the surface. And as it's pushed to the surface is when we might first become aware that there's even a problem. And as goes it with the vanity of humans, we freak out when we see a pimple starting to surface. And it's our tendency to immediately want to dry it out, to protest it, to pick at it, to fight it, and then eventually we put on concealer and try to pretend that it's not there. So around the world right now are a bunch of pimples that are popping up all over the planet, and they're irritating the hell out of us, and they're scaring the heck out of us. And we may pick at it, literally pick it. We may protest, we may spray, we may create wars around it. We create a heck of a lot of negative energy directed to that which is already negative. And here's the way energy works. Is when we are in a place of fear, there is no room for love. And when we are in a place of fear, and we direct that fear at what is scary to us, instead of being helpful, we are actually creating more harm. Fear adds to fear, begets more fear, begets more fear. And so our fear actually causes more reasons to be afraid. So, going back to the analogy of our skin, when that red pimple that is screaming and it's loud and it's angry and it's making us concerned that we're going to have a major scar, what happens next? It turns into a whitehead, a pussy whitehead, a pimple, a disgusting pimple. Around the planet right now are a lot of whiteheads. And I mean pussy, ugly, angry whiteheads. And in our skincare, when that whitehead appears, we are on the cusp of a perfect healing. The underground healing, our immune system, our ability to heal even a clogged pore, is pushing this nasty infection to the surface. And the closer it gets to the surface, the louder it screams, the more prominent it becomes, the more aware of it we become, and it yells and it screams and it's tender and it hurts and it's ugly and we're frightened and we're embarrassed and you name it. So going out into the world and looking at all these whiteheads, the louder these people are screaming, the more damage that it appears that they're doing, the more harm that they think that they're creating, the more dominance that they're trying to have, is really because the underground healing, for those of us around the world that are holding space for this healing to happen, you can't see it, but we know it's there by the louder that they scream and the more dominant that they become. Because intuitively, these organizations, these business, these humans that are causing such destruction, intuitively they are aware that they are about ready to lose all their power. Because in our skin, when that white head pops and bursts and leaks all of its pus, and it might come out in the shower and go down the drain, the healing is complete. And there might be a scar, there might not be, but the infection is gone. The infection has imploded upon itself. So when you watch the news or you read the news or you get freaked out about what's going on the internet, I am here to tell you, the louder they scream, the more worse it appears. What's really happening is an extensive amount of healing underneath the surface that is taking place. I guarantee you that's what's happening. So now I'm going to ask something out of you that is more profound than maybe you've ever considered before, and that is this. When you find your when you find yourself going into a place of fear, I want you to look at what is causing that fear. And yes, you can send it love, and that is perfectly fine, and please do that. But instead of sending the violence, fear, connect to the healing that is underneath it, and give that healing your attention and your love and your energy. And you will feel at peace. And then I dare you to look at that event and thank it. I dare you to look at that event and say, thank you for showing me the healing that is happening in this world. Because soon you will be gone. And hold space for that truth. And it will happen. Because you are